Oh, please.
Don't do this, no!
This mark will remind you of the man who took everything you had.
And the award for the most gratuitous placement of Megan Fox in a film goes to Jonah Hex.
I mean, there's only one scene she's actually pertinent to. And when they build up to it, everything that led before it made you go like, wait, huh?
Yeah, and it's so, just the only word for it is still gratuitous. It's like there's no reason for her to be here.
Right.
She doesn't figure into the story in any real way. She's only there because they said, we got a shot at getting Megan Fox. And someone went, but she's not in the script. Like, oh, you'll find a way to put her in there.
It is pointless, and boy, did they find a way to put her in. I mean, I thought there was a time machine somewhere in that room that she was staying in, because I swear to God, that chick is wearing like Maybelline, like her hair is all
that
nice
is
and
true.
shiny.
I mean,
She
like,
was photographed by Olin Mills.
There's only a couple women in here, and every
some of those
time
scenes.
with the women, they were fully made up. Like even Jonah Hex's Indian wife had on lipstick.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, you guys.
But all the guys in it are just covered in dirt and grime and sued, and every woman does. Seriously, they look like their soft-lit Olin Mills photo.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so in this interpretation of the story of Jonah Hex,
Yeah.
it's the same as before. He's a ex-Confederate soldier.
Yeah. Well, it's not the same as before now.
Okay.
He's an ex-Confederate soldier whose face was scarred from... Did they ever even say in the comic book where it come from?
I don't think they did.
It seems like it's a running joke where people like say, "Why are you so ugly?" or "Where'd that scar from?" And he's like, "I cut myself."
Yeah.
Well, apparently, I heard that in the comic, the tribe of Indians basically did it to him.
Okay.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Or maybe that's just one possible version. Who knows?
Right.
Either way,
He's always got some kind of smart-ass answer when you ask him.
Either way, it's never been the reason why he does what he does, or at least as far as I know. I mean, his whole thing, the closest he is to a superhero in the comics is just that he has a very personal thing about protecting the innocent. Other than that, he doesn't have superpowers.
Well, but
No.
he runs into a lot of Weird West things.
He does, but it's only that he's such a badass that he gets out of it.
True. But you know what? Hey, this is the movie. That's the comics. I'm willing to say, like, hey, you know what? You guys are doing your own thing.
Sure.
And that's fine. And what power they gave him, I didn't mind. I actually kind of liked the way they used it.
I did too. I thought that one of the best things about this film is the added conceit that Jonah Hex can touch the dead and can communicate with them.
He's like Miles from Lost.
I
sorta.
wouldn't have minded it if I hadn't seen it done already, like in other films, on TV series.
I had too, but the way they did it was good because they made it such an incredibly awful experience for the dead guy, and
Yeah.
that's so very Jonah Hex. I mean, I love the fact that while he's bringing them back, they're in agony, and there's a point in the film that it plays into that really cool, like, because his whole thing is like, this film is like, this is all about revenge, and it's nice to see them work that into the story, but that's really one of the only things I can say about this film that I did, in fact, like.
Really? Well, see, the problem I had with what they were doing with that whole, him having the ability to bring people back, and for some reason the crows were involved, it made me really think, of the Crow. I was like, is he like some kind of new version of the Crow? All of a sudden, like they were really trying to grab something that would give him a gimmick in a way for even being considered a comic book character, that they just threw that in just to do it.
Well, that's sort of thing when you come with a pitch for something like this. Say, hey, we want to do a Western. This character, Jonah Hex. Oh, yeah? So what makes him special? Not just another cowboy. And you kind of got to go, well, he deals with the dead and the supernatural, and he can do this. All right, that's something special.
But you read the comic books, and they're still westerns.
Yeah.
This is a western in the same sense that League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is a period piece. It's just not really. It's still like a Hollywood guy going, well, you got to make it more superhero-y, and that's why Jonah Hex really falls apart.
Well, the thing is, like, you can really make this a companion piece to League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Or the Avengers.
Well, yeah, even the Avengers. But, yeah, I mean, like I said, I was still annoyed with this film that they didn't really... all they did was make a typical, mediocre, standard comic book character film that should have been called The Crow, because it was like the same premise. It's a revenge story. That's basically all it is.
Well, here we've got, and this is very similar to The Crow. Yeah, well, I hadn't even thought of that before, but that's excellent co-host.
Of course, I'm a
Gold
genius.
star
Really?
for you.
When a
Yes.
crow crawled out of his mouth, you didn't think...
I didn't actually know. It never came together. But now that I talk about it, the story here, Jonah Hex, played by Josh Brolin, was a guy who fought for the Confederacy, but not because he liked slave. The film is important to remind you, but because he just doesn't like being told what to do.
Right.
And
like when the government says, "Hey, stop being an asshole." You don't tell me what to do. I can be as big of an asshole as I want to be.
You seem like a pissed off sling blade.
but in the beginning of this film, we see that after the war, he had a Indian bride and a kid, and John Malkovich shows up as Quentin Turnbull, a guy who used to be his captain, who, after he disobeyed him, he decided he was going to get revenge. Now, we never actually see what happened that Jonah Hex did specifically to Quentin Turnbull, but apparently it ruined his life.
Well, near as I can tell from what they say, Quentin Turnbull, even though the South lost the war, decided he would go around destroying hospitals. And Hex just said, like, I can't abide by this.
But you don't know specifically what he did to him, because
Well, they keep talking about how he turned him in.
Well, when Turnbull has confronted Hex, which is what we see in the beginning of the movie, and then about 20 minutes later, and then about 10 minutes after that, and then about 30 minutes over, as they show us over and over again, when he's captured him, attached him to, strung him up so he's forced to watch them killing his family in front of him. He's like, you took away everything I loved. I don't feel like we ever got enough from that. But anyway, so he did that, made him watch, destroyed his soul, and then branded his face with a cattle prod, which Hex later, not wanting to be marked for anything.
Not a cattle prod, a branding iron.
Well, branding iron,
yeah.
Sorry. Well, not wanting to be branded as anything, decided to burn it all away with a red-hot axe himself.
Decided to give himself a vagina on his face.
Yeah.
So he looks one of those where you want to look at him and go like, so dude, how did that work out?
Well, to be fair, I think I'd prefer general scarring over
some dude's name,
enemy's icon. I think I could see where he's coming from.
It looked a whole lot better than the KC Masterpiece emblem that originally was on his face.
He did look kind of like a double down sandwich afterwards. He gets information that Turnbull's still alive and that he's planning some horrible, horrible deed because apparently he's a supervillain in the Wild West.
And normally you would call Jim West and Artemis Gordon for something like this.
Exactly, and it felt like someone was going to show up in a giant robotic spider at some point.
Yeah.
So they're like, there's only one man who can help us, Jonah Hex, and
the original Captain America.
Pretty much. And who's the Will Arnett?
Yeah, Will Arnett.
Like number one, and you're like, why are you in this movie, Will Arnett? So it turns into Jonah Hex chasing down his mortal enemy and the people who destroyed his family, so he can get revenge. And yeah,
that's it. In a nutshell.
That's the story.
And that story should have lasted about 15 minutes.
And
it almost did.
Well, it's 72 minutes.
72 minutes. Yeah. That barely qualifies as a feature film.
Well, I mean, did you notice how we didn't mention Megan Fox in the plot synopsis? That's because she's not in the plot.
She's not at all.
She's the most tertiary character of all time.
She's a piece of ace.
3 scenes, and only half of one of them she really does anything important to the plot.
You still got that Derringer in your bustle?
No, I took it.
What about that knife in your garter?
Took it.
What about that?
Took it all, Jonah.
Well, searched you for darn good, didn't they?
Wouldn't you?
All right, look, here's what we're gonna do. You shout for the guard. Get him over here and use your feminine wiles and whatnot. When he gets close, what the hell?
Tallulah Black's mama didn't raise no fool.
Tallulah?
Lala's the nickname.
Tallulah.
The horse should have been the sidekick. Yeah.
I mean, well, the horse kind of was. I mean, the horse actually showed up and did things, and was an important part of the plot.
Yeah. That horse was the original Batmobile, by the way. With the Gatling guns
totally
and everything.
was. I mean, yeah, that sequence.
Yeah, that's right.
Early on, where you're like, really? They've attached Gatling guns to a horse, and the horse is just sitting there going, whatever.
Yeah, it's a living. It's a living.